Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to NGS. I am Jason, and we're here tonight to bring you the first ever iteration of Friday Night Hots. It's also my honor to have on tonight Snagging backwards shenanigans himself. Welcome, man. Thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. It should be a fun time. I hope everybody was able to actually catch your videos of hyping up the game and giving the kind of the backstory of A-MEI-ZING and Drop Dead Gorgeous. Definitely a pleasure to watch and to be here. So hopefully we have some good games.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this series. I think this has the makings of a very good game. Of course, you never know here in the Nexus what is going to come out. And of course, we're going to get into this first ban phase real quick here. But is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to between these two teams, or anything you're going to be looking out for?
Well, I mean, this is a Division 8 match, so hopefully I'm expecting a lot of really sick synergies with team comps, especially now with HGC being available. A lot of Tomb of the Spider Queen is a very popular map in HGC, so we'll see if they bring any of those HGC strats into the series.
Unfortunately, Snag, I'm sorry, man, I have to correct you, but it's actually a Division B West match. But yeah, well, there goes that.
Was lied to. Well, either way, I could still expect a lot of good synergies between the teams.
Yeah, these are still two very, very quality teams that
yeah.
I think I could give a run to any Division A team on a good day. So we are going to go ahead and get on going into game number 1 and this first draft here for the Nexus Gaming series on Tomb of the Spider Queen. A-MEI-ZING versus Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Yeah, so Tomb of the Spider Queen, definitely a map that prioritizes a rotation type build. You have your 4-man, 1-man, and so a lot of times it depends, really changes how players or teams kind of draft for that type of map.
Yeah, so definitely wave clear heavy map on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Poke potential can be really solid for being able to try to poke out these map objectives and prevent the turn-ins. But definitely they're going to want to go with some heavy wave clear to start. The Chromie ban actually coming out initially here from A-MEI-ZING, suggesting that they may have scouted a bit of Drop Dead Gorgeous and didn't want to see that coming out here on Tomb.
Yeah, even that, I mean, Chromie is just kind of one of those heroes that can be incredibly frustrating to play against on Tomb just because of how safely she can poke on any of the turn-ins and do a lot of damage. I mean, this is probably the one map that has the smallest lane width, so it makes Chromie shots very effective very easily. But yeah, picking up one of the Shimadas, we'll see if Drop Dead counters with the other Shimada.
Yeah, a lot of choke points, to be able to go into, so that's probably why we also see the ETC ban coming out to very corridor friendly heroes, or I guess corridor unfriendly heroes for the enemy side. So exactly. Genji's going to come out, and Genji basically a pseudo global on this map. You mentioned how small the lanes are, but also the distance in between these lanes. It is a 3-lane map, but it's actually one of the smaller maps in Heroes of the Storm, so Genji quickly able to rotate between these, and we've seen that kind of reset style coming out from A-MEI-ZING this season, so it looks like that's what they're going to look for.
Drop Dead picking up Hanzo Uther. I mean, Uther, it's actually kind of funny that they pick up Uther now. I feel like that's definitely one of the hotness of HGC right now, instead of like the Lucio being incredibly annoying on this map. So I'm quite surprised that they went with the Uther first, looking to get that Divine Shield and also stun locks on the Genji.
And we'll see the Tyrael and the Alexstrasza coming out. Glad to see that A-MEI-ZING knows that they're not actually allowed to play the Mega Tyrael, yeah. But still, we do all like that skin. But Alexstrasza also coming out. You mentioned the Uther and how good he is in the HGC. I think he's a little bit more of a high profile hero in terms of being able to execute well, but he's also got that high skill ceiling cap. So you got to be able to save those cooldowns. His cooldowns are very long, so if you squander them, the side of A-MEI-ZING is going to be good enough to punish that this game.
Yeah, you definitely have to be able to be patient with when you use your heals, and sometimes whether it's worth it to give that damage reduction at that time. And then right down, Drop Dead bans out the Malthael, which is, since they already shoot the Uther, Malthael is probably one of the best counters to Uther just because of how much spread AoE damage he does, especially once he gets in there. So it's a good ban from them.
Yeah, they've got a couple of more heroes that they do have to worry about. One that comes to mind is the Lunara, but the Sonya band coming out on the other side. So A-MEI-ZING still respecting the power of Sonya even after the nerfs she received this week.
Yeah, honestly, the nerfs weren't that really big of a deal. I mean, the biggest nerf is probably her level 16 with slight, her slight survivability. But she's still going to be a powerhouse in the solo lane, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so,
we will.
Yeah.
Sorry. We will also see Alex Straza, one thing I wanted to mention here, with pretty decent wave clear. You look at the support game now, there's not a whole lot of good wave clear in the support game anymore, but Alex Straza is one of those exceptions where if she's constantly throwing out those flames, she is able to get quite a lot of wave clear here on 2.
Yeah, she definitely has more wave clear than Uther. She probably is on par with Stukov, maybe a little bit shorter if she's able to hit them in their malign. But obviously Drop Dead's immediately trying to pick up their wave clear with Joanna. Kind of makes up for the Hanzo and now the Tychus.
Yeah, Tychus, another hero that's been very popular recently in HGC. We've seen him slowly emerging back. Why do you think that is, Snag?
Honestly, it's probably because of the tanks that are being available all the time. I mean, Tychus does really well against ETC with the minigun. It's probably more often because he can actually just tank. Like, he is sort of his own tank. He has a high health pool. He has Odin that gives him damage reduction and a lot of ranged attacks at that point. So even though his shortcomings is that short range on him, if anybody does end up diving, they'll get shredded.
See what you did
with
there,
survivability.
But yeah, I think you're right. I see a lot of people using that Commandeer Odin also as a heavy sieging tool to be able to get a lot of extra damage when you do have the advantage and you're trying to push in. But what are we going to see as a response?
He's great on defending and attacking spiders.
Yeah. So we will see Tassadar and an Illidan coming out here. When was the last time you saw an Illidan, Snag? This should be interesting.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. He's definitely one of those niche heroes, especially on Tomb of the Spider Queen, which is definitely a shorter range. He doesn't get as much power out of his global with the hunt if he does end up going that way. But Illidan Tassadar is, kind of like the old school. That's a force to be reckoned with. Alex Straza giving him that dive potential with the dragon form and hit her ultimate to kind of chase him down. And then, this is a lot of dive. This Tyrael, Genji, Illidan, Alex Straza. I mean, they're going to be looking for that Hanzo.
Yeah, I think we need to sound the nuclear warhead warning sound because the dive is coming in here. With we could even see the Judgment if they really want to go full dive. They really do have the tools to be able to do that. Cleansing Flame to be able to go in to support that as they dive the backline, and the Tassadar who can go in with the Archon, or even just without the Archon, the Tass Walls to be able to slow up the members of Drop Dead Gorgeous on the retreat.
Mm-hmm. And I actually really like the Arthas pickup here. A great counter to Illidan is if Illidan is ever attacking Arthas, then his effectiveness goes down significantly. And so now basically it's just trying to do that counter dive. I think they have plenty of protection tools against the Illidan and the Genji, trying to save their Tychus and their Hanzo.
Yeah, I also really like the Arthas as a tool to try to enable the Tychus. One of the big counters to Tychus is just walking away from him after you pop that Odin. You just let him, let that cooldown run out, and then you come back and re-engage him later with the dive. But with Arthas, with those roots and those slows, it can be a little bit harder to walk away, especially for a hero like Alex Straza, who doesn't really have any mobility outside of Cleansing Flame.
Yeah, and hopefully he can land some good roots to that can also help combo with a minigun trait if the Tychus ends up going with the bigger they are. Now, granted, there's not too many effective targets to go for the Tychus. I mean, Illidan has evasion, Genji has deflect, and then if the Genji does end up getting the level 7 talent for reduced cooldown when he takes damage, then he pretty much gets a free deflect second after Tychus is on top of him. So it'll be interesting to actually see how effective Tychus actually becomes here.
All right, and we are loading in for our first match here of the night. It is going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen on the left. It will be amazing with Hayes playing the Illidan. Lasai is going to be on the Genji. Lightnex is going to be on Alex Straza. Nukes for Kids is going to be on the Tyrael. And Kazin on the Tassadar.
And on the right-hand side, we got Drop Dead Gorgeous. We got Trent on the Tychus, Chaos on the Hanzo, Pugs Not Drugs on the Arthas, Gelda on the Joanna, and Vexine on that color-coordinated Uther mount. Looks good.
Oh boy, looks like we got wrong server snag. Feels bad. So we're gonna go ahead and reset for these teams because they do want to be on Central, and so we can reset it. It's not actually that bad. And it's okay. We'll give more people a chance to forget about HGC and come on in and watch our game instead.
Exactly. So I do not want to rejoin.
Nope. No rejoin. No. All right.
Man, that was a quick pickup. I don't think I even would have checked what that setting was.
I'm telling you, these guys, not only are they very passionate about the game, they they're into it. They want to make sure that they're not lagging too much, and that's fair. It's the matches in NGS are supposed to be played on Central unless both teams agree. It is a Western division, so I kind of assumed, but that's okay. It doesn't take too long to all fixed up for these guys.
Gotta get everybody back in the lobby.
Yeah, luckily this is not the first time around for this, and actually we'll just we won't even bother with the draft. Everybody knows what they're playing.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need to go through the draft again.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good draft, but it wasn't that good a draft.
we can rehash everything out. We can get more ideas out of what's going to go on.
I mean, there has to be something we didn't pick out of all that,
Yeah, actually, now that watching it up, so I'm a little upset that A-MEI-ZING didn't actually pick. I guess for some reason, every time I read A-MEI-ZING, I always think of Li Ming. I'm not really sure why.
Well, I mean, if you've watched very much of A-MEI-ZING this season, there might actually be a reason why you think that. They went with the Genji this time around, but typically we do see A-MEI-ZING with the Ming, and they do like their reset comps.
Oh, I guess I should ready.
So we're gonna say just a quick prayer to the gods that when I changed it over to Central, that the lobby took that. Otherwise, then we might be in some trouble. But we are loading back in here. Tomb of the Spider Queen. One going for you guys here. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, and thank you for your patience.
So we do have portrait synergy on the side of Drop Dead Gorgeous, so that does give him a little bit of a benefit.
Prepare yourselves. The battle begins shortly.
I'm actually not sure how to change it. How to check what server it's on in here.
I see Central for me.
Okay. Well, I'll have to just take your word for it.
At least I see Central, anyways.
Battle begins in 10 seconds.
Yeah, just doing a little quick check.
4, 3, 2.
All right.
1.
Well.
Slay them all.
Well,
I guess they're okay with it.
I don't know, because I set it to Central.
Is yours not on Central?
No, mine's typically on West, because that's I'm on the West Coast, but I reset it to Central before I made the lobby, so I'm not sure why that's going on. But either way, we are in here for matchup. Let me go ahead and bring up the talents for you guys. We can take a quick check here what both these teams are doing. And any talents you notice that are kind of out of the ordinary to start this one off?
Surprisingly, Illidan's actually going to go Battered Assault. I mean, I guess not too surprisingly. There is a lot of melee, Uther kind of being melee and 2 tanks being in there. It does give Illidan a lot more damage, which in turn gives him a lot more self-sustain. But with that, he is kind of going against an Arthas and a Joanna that can both blind and slow his attack speed. So we'll just see how it plays out. Usually you will see like the Immolation or even the Unending Hatred. But I think the more interesting part is the fact that they have Tassadar in the solo lane. I guess makes sense because Arthas is down there and Illidan's not going to do anything to him. But it severely limits their rotation on the top.
Yeah, I think just putting the range there is all they really have to do. Plus, not as gankable a target, the Tassadar, with that ability to dimensional shift away if a gank does come in from Drop Dead Gorgeous. But right now, they seem to be winning up here in the top as the side of A-MEI-ZING. They're getting the rotation game in, and they're kind of controlling this rotation point up in the top lane so far. Well, I take it back.
Yeah, honestly, both teams
are.
are really, they're kind of just clearing their lane and then kind of moving over. I don't think, because essentially A-MEI-ZING is kind of keeping a split team here and then just getting to the minions as they come up to them, which honestly is probably the safer way to do it for A-MEI-ZING, and that way they can still get their gems. But smartly, Illidan's actually going to rotate out to these knights as soon as they came up, which is going to put us so much more pressure on the side of Drop Dead for them to turn in.
Yeah, you talk about trying to interrupt the rotation at all here. We are going to see Hayes getting that done, so it does will affect the rotational game right out the gate here for the side of Drop Dead Gorgeous. But rotating is 4, maybe a little bit cleaner rotation so far for the side of Drop Dead Gorgeous. But they've been a roster for a very long time, so it's kind of what you would expect from a seasoned team like they have.
Yeah, I actually remember casting a lot of them in a couple of the early games of Chair League, so I definitely recognize the team.
Yeah, and much of the core membership is still here, even from back in those Chair League days. So it's nice to see the experienced team here, even against this high-octane squad that A-MEI-ZING's got. I think that should be a very interesting matchup tonight. But either way, we do have this camp starting to push into here to mid. Gelda is here to try to answer to it. Meanwhile, they also are trying to pick up their hard camp on their side as well. But Lasai sniffing this out is going to come in and contest him a bit.
Yeah, and Illidan being in this little close place, we see Arthas coming in for a little bit of the rotation. Make sure that they can just scare him off and say, hey, don't deal with this guy, he's mine.
So camp is picked up for the side of Drop Dead Gorgeous. A little bit of damage onto that cannon tower for the side of A-MEI-ZING, but now we're going to have to see what the response is here from Drop Dead. How much damage are they going to be able to get out of this push?
Yeah, I'd imagine Drop Dead gets a lot more value. There's a lot less wave clear available for A-MEI-ZING, so these knights, they're actually probably going to get both towers, which is going to be super powerful for them, before even the Web Weavers.
Yeah, actually rotating up Tassadar here was probably their top wave clear hero. To try and do that a little bit, but with the spell armor, not going to be quite as effective with that lightning.
Yeah, and actually Arthas is doing pretty well against the Tassadar on the bot lane, surprisingly, just because of the AoE damage. But whenever if he's able to get on top of Tassadar, he does just an absurd amount of damage to him.
Meanwhile, we do see the first turn in the game will be going over to the side of A-MEI-ZING, so nice opportunity for them to try to get a bit of a level lead here with the use of these first Web Weavers. Right now they're a little bit behind, but just a little bit of structure damage, and they should be caught right up and maybe be able to surpass them here a little bit.
Yeah, and so a lot of times with the strategy, especially with the first Web Weaver, is you kind of just give up whatever one is the most defended. We see Drop Dead is actually spending all 5 members in the mid lane here, which is allowing Tassadar and Genji actually get a good amount of push in the other lanes. Most of the time, you usually want to do like a 3-1-1 against the first Web Weavers because they are so weak, and then just kind of defend whichever one the other team is heavily defended. So they do get some value on the bot lane and value on the top lane.
Yeah, both front walls going to end up falling to these Web Weavers. Overall, not too bad a defense here from Drop Dead Gorgeous. The kind of the standard you expect is to get, front walls, but not forts. And it looks like that is going to be the case here for this first Web Weaver phase.
And it does net them about a half-level lead here, which is, worthwhile. So now it's going to come down to how well can they goal keep? How well can they delay Drop Dead from getting their turn in? They do have pretty good poke with Alexstrasza, Tassadar, and Genji if they keep their eyes open when the other team's rotating.
Yeah, both teams having quite a few tools in the interrupt game to be able to try to deny these turn-ins. Of course, on the other side, a grenade from Tychus. Gelda has about 1 million different opportunities to be able to get in there and interrupt. And of course, Hanzo, maybe one of the best of all, if he can get his geometry right.
Yeah, A-MEI-ZING's not even looking to turn in right now. They're just looking to delay and try to soak. Both teams are going to try to soak to 10 while also delaying turn-in. We're actually going to see Dragon Queen coming out here. They're looking to burn a gauge. Hanzo's getting super low.
Chaos having to back off here. Trent getting very low. Does get the cleanse, but it's not in time to be able to get himself out of that situation. And we're going to see first blood going over to the side of A-MEI-ZING.
And that probably couldn't have come at a better opportune time. That's going to give A-MEI-ZING more lane pressure, probably the ability to actually get the second turn in, which could easily lead to a snowball here. I mean, they need about, what, 7 more, now 5. And if they get a turn in with that kill, this is going to spell a really tough comeback for Drop Dead right at the start of the game.
Yeah, and this is one of the biggest snowball maps in the game on Tomb of the Spider Queen. If you end up backed up without the ability to rotate into these turn-in points with the forts, it can be very hard to contest the web weavers and be able to try to deny the map objective at that point, especially when you're down talent tiers, you're down levels, and just down vision and rotational ability.
Yeah, and with that first kill, they actually were able to hit 10 before they even did the turn-in. So I'd like to see A-MEI-ZING be pretty aggressive here. They ended up going with Metamorphosis, not even going to the Hunt, and Sanctification. So they're going to be looking to play a lot of the sustain team fight game, and not really going to be looking for that blow up on one person.
Yeah, but to your point, they don't really push in too hard here to try and utilize those level 10s. A good opportunity for them to try and force a fight, contesting that mid web weaver. But we do see Kaizen with a nice force wall there to zone out the members of Drop Dead Gorgeous as they push in to this top fort, prioritizing the boss lane here.
Seeing Odin come out and forcing out the dragon, coming out with her Cleansing Flame. Sanctification is going to stop a good amount of damage. Unfortunately, a lot of the team members of A-MEI-ZING did end up leaving the Sanctification, but Illidan on that back line ends up picking up Luther, hopefully immediately turning onto the Hanzo. Starting off with a 2-for-1 so far, and just the Illidan dive is just so hard for them to deal with. Actually can clean up a 4v1, a 4v nothing actually. That could probably have gotten any better for A-MEI-ZING.
Yeah, Hayes jumping in and getting a lot done on the backside, but when it came down to those low health pools, Lasai being able to charge in and get those resets on the Hanzo to be able to turn that from 1 or 2 kills into 4. And, you know, I don't know which is more demoralizing, is the idea of going in and engaging a team before they get 10 and catching them down the talent tier, or just waiting for them to get 10 and then diving on them and killing them anyway.
This is trying so hard to save the bottom keep.
Oh.
I mean, losing a keep at like 9 minutes would have been devastating to have to constantly deal with that, especially being bot lane. Bot lane is actually, it's a surprisingly interesting strat on Tomb of the Spider Queen to actually push bot lane the most, because that way, if bot lane is pushed out, it forces the other team to have to deal with that lane and opens up the boss lane, opens up the boss, so that way you force these long rotations.
And the aggression continuing here from the side of A-MEI-ZING. They sniff out the attempt at this camp here by Drop Dead Gorgeous, and they will rotate in. And with the level 13 talent tier advantage, Drop Dead not even going to try to contest this.
Yeah, probably smartly so. Didn't want to risk anything else. Not worth it just for trying to fight over a camp that can be easily cleared up.
Meanwhile, we will see Hayes diving in deep here, but does have the rest of A-MEI-ZING here. They will be able to finish off this keep. And like you said, they wanted to start getting these catapults spawning in the bot lane and forcing Drop Dead Gorgeous to respond.
Yeah, now Drop Dead's going to have to constantly pay attention to this bot lane, either sending one person or maybe more, depending on how aggressive A-MEI-ZING stays in that lane to kind of keep it pushed out. And this is going to open up the map for Illidan.
Well, we do see Lightnex going ahead and popping that Dragon Queen. They are charging in after Pugs Not Drugs. 58 gems sitting in his pockets. The force wall preventing the retreat. And we will see a huge amount of damage coming out, though, from the explosion there from Tyrael. Illidan ends up falling, and all of a sudden, it's a 1-for-3 exchange in favor of Drop Dead Gorgeous. They come out, and they pick up all those gems that were dropped by the Tyrael as they win that team fight. And this is the surge that they needed here.
Yeah, that was the product of A-MEI-ZING fighting on a fort without any minions. I mean, so they were just basically, somebody on their team was constantly taking that slow and that attack speed reduction. Illidan stayed alive for quite a long time, surprisingly enough. I think those Cleansing Flames really saved them. But the good thing for them is that there's really not much that Drop Dead can do here.
Right, they push out the lanes. They get bottom pushed out pretty far. They will secure themselves a Web Weaver turn in here. Not available to go to the boss, and now they're actually going to end up losing Gelda here, who gets caught deep in enemy territory with all that dive and respawn potential. Now level 16 right around the corner, and should be an easy Web Weaver clear here for A-MEI-ZING.
Yeah, he might have stayed a little too long there. Just at least stayed a little too long with a low amount of mana, which kind of hurt his escapability. Arthas actually hasn't picked up his level 13 yet. I wonder why. Might be a misclick or something.
Yeah, could be an oversight or just could be holding it. Hard to tell, but either way, Pugs Not Drugs rotating here to the bot. They're looking to catch out Hayes, which catching out the
nothing
Illidan.
to dive to. Ooh, nice juke.
Yeah, one of the more mobile heroes in the game, kind of the original super mobility hero, and actually Metamorphosis will be able to get Hayes comfortably back into range of his towers.
Yeah, quite surprising that he actually used Metamorphosis there. He was out range of everybody and basically in range of towers, so I don't really see a need for Metamorphosis, but you know, might as well be safe. It is quite a long cooldown, but he does have this trait that reduces it, so probably not too much of a loss.
And meanwhile, we do see Web Weavers have been cleared up in all these lanes here for Amazing. Level 16 has been picked up, so this is kind of the raw end of this snowball effect now for Drop Dead Gorgeous. They have to rotate around carefully. They have to constantly worry about the possible boss, and I should say now, actual boss attempt by Amazing. And the question is, can they really compete on this?
I mean, they have level 16, they have Tassadar Wall to keep them out and delay, they have Holy Ground and Sanctification to fight on top of the boss. I feel like this should be an easy pick for Amazing, but they're actually going to kind of pull away.
And not wanting to risk another bad team fight, Linux is actually going to go ahead and pop the Cleansing Flame, and they are diving in full, focusing a lot of their damage, though, onto the Johanna. They will be able to turn around and destorm here. The stun lock coming down. Lasai getting very low. Genji the first to fall in this team fight, but so many members low here for Drop Dead Gorgeous. Johanna goes down. Hanzo goes down. Pugs Not Drugs in all kinds of trouble. Trent is starting to kite back with that commandeered Odin, but Nukes for Kids will out Druins in, get that final pick, and that will end up being a 1-for-4 exchange in favor of Amazing.
Ooh, Trent actually just barely got away from there. So that was, honestly, that was quite an interesting fight, because if you saw at the very beginning, pretty much everybody of Amazing got really low. Fighting on top of Arthas, fighting the Odin, I mean, they were incredibly low. Somehow, the Cleansing Flame and then the Dragon Form was able to bring everybody back up, and then on the exact same time, everybody on Drop Dead Gorgeous just started dying. And there wasn't really many people left alive. Genji died pretty early. I guess it must have been that Illidan damage.
Yeah, Battered Assault maybe? I don't know. It's just the turn on that team fight was just so dramatic. That's something we could probably go back and look at in a replay and spend, you know, hours watching that to really figure out everything that happened there.
Yeah, because I mean, at first when they were diving right into the Arthas and the Arthas had the ghouls up, I mean, you could see their damage just plummet because of that Arthas attack speed slow, both on the Genji and on the Illidan. And then I guess at some point, either Arthas might have maybe turned off his E or something, but holy cow, did that damage turn the other direction quickly.
So taking a step back, looking at the state of the game right now, level 16s do get picked up by Drop Dead Gorgeous, but boss pushing in the top is going to end up confirming, well, almost confirming this keep, but the Web Weavers will be soon coming after, so this keep is not long for this world anyway. They are going to rotate and try and defend the other two lanes, but a lot of pressure coming in here to Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Yeah, Hanzo there. I mean, Drop Dead Gorgeous saying, hey, this is our time to fight. We're going to blow everything here to try to fight into this. Illidan trying to get right on top of the Picus. Then comes the Genji with the Dragon Blade. Actually going to be able to get some resets. Nice. Divine Storm from the Uther. Saving his team a little bit. But there's Drop Dead Gorgeous is still falling. Dragon Queen trying to poke out this Arthas, ends up doing it. And with that engage, favoring heavily on Amazing, they're probably going to go straight to core here.
The dive too powerful here. Amazing able to push past these structures, get to the juicy back line of Drop Dead Gorgeous, take them down, and win themselves game number 1 here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. So game number 2, we are going to be going to Battlefield of Eternity. We saw a lot of team fighting in that last game, but not all of it favored the side of Amazing. So I don't know. I think if Drop Dead Gorgeous wanted to take this game to anywhere, I think Battlefield's not a bad pick for him.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those team fights probably did not go the way I was expecting them to go. I really liked Amazing's draft when utilized correctly. They surprisingly went more of a team comp sustain build with the Metamorphosis and the Sanctification as opposed to blowing up one person. Granted, I can see why they did that because they went against the Uther who has the best anti-dive heals in the game, and so it does make it incredibly challenging to do that. When those fights that had the Tyrael had the Sanctification land on top of everybody on his own team, you can see how quickly it turned. With Illidan was able to get free heals on himself because he wasn't being affected by Arthas slow, and then the Alexstrasza was actually able to be very safe that whole game.
Yeah, overall, just a lot of grit and determination in those team fights by A-MEI-ZING. I think that was really what ended up being the difference, because there were a couple really shaky starts, but at the end of the day, they were able to get through a lot of that damage and a lot of that pressure, especially from the D-Storm. You know, I was a little bit surprised to see D-Storm, but, you know, against that heavy dive comp, it does make a lot of sense, and I feel like they utilized it pretty well when those dives came in. They got early kills, but just weren't able to out-sustain them with that Uther healing.
Yeah, and I think the reason for the D-Storm is because since A-MEI-ZING got level 10 first, they saw the Metamorphosis versus the Hunt, so he didn't really have a really good reason to take Divine Shield. There was mainly all spread damage from, or kind of a sustained type damage from A-MEI-ZING, so Divine Storm is a lot harder to get, or not, Divine Shield is a lot harder to get good value out of. But
all right, so I mean,
sometimes those Divine Storms really, I mean, basically, I think they stunned Genji for like 4 seconds in one of the fights.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to let these guys make the lobby. That way they can hopefully get this onto Central server. For some reason, I keep sticking on the West server. I'm not quite sure why, but...
It'd be interesting to see if Drop Dead Gorgeous actually, you know, picks up with the Central server and they have better ping or something.
Yeah. That's, you know, it's all about the ping. That's
Yep.
well documented. But yeah, game number 2 going to be Battlefield of Eternity. So we're probably going to see these teams adjust their drafts a little bit. This is probably one of the most draft-heavy maps in the game, and really centered around that immortal damage.
Yeah, and I obviously every time I cast this type of map, I always like to bring up the different strategies that come into Battlefield Eternity. Usually you see about 3, you know, very standard ideals, I guess. You have, you know, your full race, which in my opinion is probably the weakest of the ideals. And then you have your, we're going to defend our immortal and have somebody kind of race by themselves. And then you have, we're going to defend our immortal and we're going to have somebody split soaking, like an Abathur or a Dahaka, or somebody that has a very good global or very quickly can add to the fight, like a Falstad. And it's always fun to see how those ideals clash and which team pulls it off better. And it dictates by very slight draft differences in heroes.
Yeah, and one thing that I kind of notice is that the higher up you go in terms of like MMR and skill level, the more teams tend to edge towards the more defensive strategies, where they're more interested in side soaking and a little bit less interested in just going race. Where, you know, you get to less coordinated play, lower tier hero league, that kind of thing. You start to see more of teams just, you know, only doing the map objective and not really, you know, paying attention to anything else.
Yeah, the macro play is definitely, you see a lot more in the higher levels when they realize the importance of that macro, saying, hey, the Force Immortal is going to be pretty weak. It doesn't matter if it gets too low or too high, but the big difference is there is who gets level 10 first. And that's what comes into play, because then if you hit level 10 with your immortal, then you're able to snowball a lot more, because now you're fighting ultimates up that can almost guarantee you the first fort if that situation arises. Otherwise, you're pretty even and you can kind of just play out the long game.
All right, so we do got everybody into lobby here, and we should be getting this one going for you guys very soon. Game number 1 being won there by A-MEI-ZING on, I believe it was actually on, yeah, it was on Drop Dead Gorgeous's map choice. So Battlefield of Eternity, this is the map choice for A-MEI-ZING, and we are heading on in. Game number 2. So first pick, first ban, going over this game to Drop Dead Gorgeous. What do you expect them to prioritize here?
I'm actually surprised we didn't see a Greymane last game. They did ban out the ETC and Chromie. Probably won't see a Chromie ban this time. I could still see Drop Dead banning out ETC. If they don't have a player that they like ETC on, Diablo's pretty strong on this map, and Nubarek is honestly pretty strong on this map. So I can still see them banning out the ETC. It seems like both teams like to go for the Genji Hanzo. I actually ended up banning Hanzo. He is incredibly quick at killing the Immortals.
Yeah, his race potential definitely the highest in the game when he does go with
Full
that
W.
scatter shot build. But we're gonna see a couple of options for the side of A-MEI-ZING to ban out here. A lot of good racers, a lot of good heroes that are just good at, in general of team fighting in the mid, getting into that poke war, and the ETC insta-locked here by Drop Dead Gorgeous. So I guess they did have a good ETC player they want to showcase.
Yeah. It's quite odd that they wanted to ban it so quickly on the last game then, but
well, they were second ban that time, so they couldn't deny it over on the other side.
Yeah, with the Li Ming tier, I really like Li Ming on this map because she kind of plays two roles. She's not the best racer, but let's say you do end up winning that first half and the other team wants to defend into the Immortal. She's one of the best pokers. So then you can get either team damage value or Immortal damage value. So either way, it's a win-win. And granted, if she has to defend, she's still good because a lot of the Immortal defense positions are huge choke points, and allows her to kind of get those resets.
Yeah, and Li Ming does have a very good build for the Immortals, but having done my homework on A-MEI-ZING, I don't expect Lasai to go with that build here on Battlefield. I expect more the Calamity reset style build, and for them to still go with more Immortal Burn down the road, but also to prioritize the defensive strategy in the first place. Especially with the Tyrael and that Holy Ground, their ability to cut off in the chokes.
Yeah, the level 13 team fight is going to be huge for A-MEI-ZING with the Tyrael.
Meanwhile, we got Genji and Uther coming out again. So yet again, Drop Dead Gorgeous going back to the well, looking to prioritize that Uther. And also going to steal away the Genji this time around. So one thing we have seen with A-MEI-ZING this season is that they can be susceptible to dive. So they're going to go with the Genji, and they're going to try and flip the script a little bit from this last game and try and dive onto A-MEI-ZING this time around.
Yeah, and what I like, so neither team right now is prioritizing any type of race potential. They're saying, we'll kill the Immortal enough, but we want to kill you more. Actually, hovering a bunch of heroes for A-MEI-ZING, showing that Malthael first, which they definitely did not want to ban because they actually wanted to pick a Malthael here against the Uther, and I would suspect Drop Dead to actually ban it.
Yeah, Vala, a pretty decent ban. You definitely don't want to play Vala into a Genji with that dive potential. But we'll have to see what they end up deciding here. Greymane already off the table, so you probably want to ban out a good racer, as Drop Dead Gorgeous has just not gotten that yet. But they're going to actually go with the Gul'dan.
Yeah, that's quite surprising. I wonder if they know that somebody likes to play Gul'dan. I mean, Gul'dan obviously has a lot of strength in the 4-man, which, again, 2-lane map. This also tends to be another 4-man, 1-man split. And Gul'dan definitely makes that 4-man more powerful. Yeah,
meanwhile, we work to the Malthael. Yep.
Yeah. Kind of expected that one with the Uther pick, and especially with A-MEI-ZING kind of hovering it.
Be interesting to see if A-MEI-ZING wants to go into a Lunara here. It's other than the two heroes that just got banned out, Lunara, probably one of the best counters in the game to Uther, is still a little bit susceptible to the Genji dive. But also, one other thing to consider here from A-MEI-ZING is this is probably around the time in the draft when they want to pick their healer. So which healer they want to go here, I think, is going to be really influential in the rest of this game. Possibly even a Brightwing to try to counter the Genji, but more likely a Stukov or possibly a Malfurion here.
Yeah, I would like to see either Stukov or Malfurion as the top two. Lucio can be good enough. He has no cleanse, which I don't think they need a cleanse. But Lucio's just not good against interrupting the ETC, so they probably want the Stukov that has the ETC interrupt. You can also peel for the Genji, and Malfurion has Twilight Dream for both those scenarios as well. So either healer there, or neither of them.
They're gonna keep us waiting. They're gonna make us wait, and I actually kind of like that call. At this point, Uther's taken off the table. There's no more bans, so you're not going to be denied a healer here. From these next two picks from Drop Dead Gorgeous. So take a second to look at what their comp's going to actually look like in full. Make that healer your last pick to be as good as it possibly can at countering the enemy team's damage.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I would like to have seen the healer here anyways, because I feel like Yeah, great. Pick Sonya here. That's fine because she adds dive. She's good damage. She's a good solo laner. She kind of fulfills all roles. But I feel like the Arthas right now does not show any benefit and does not show any counter. So the Arthas pick at this rotation seems less effective to me because let's say now they go into a Tychus and Tychus is going to have a lot more value here where they might not have gone into Tychus otherwise, or even a Leoric. I could still see them going into Leo. Yeah, very perfect.
And even going with that full gold skin.
Nice.
Very low. And the Tychus.
Yeah. So like that's what I
Snag,
like
you're too good. I'm going home, man. It's just not.
I feel like picking that Arthas there might have given them too much insight into. All right, now we can counter everything. You can't counter a healer really. Like you don't pick your draft to counter healers. You pick your draft to counter the front line and the DPS. So kind of not leaving that as a mystery. I mean, honestly, this is a lot of power out of A-MEI-ZING, and so it can still work out for him.
Yeah, and we've also just seen in general that they have been a very high quality, high performing team. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them, really surprise us with how they're going to utilize this aggressive comp and be able to try to get the resets to really get their team comp going here. But I do still like this draft from Drop Dead Gorgeous. We've also seen this season them have very good team fighting potential, very good coordination in their own right. And so I wouldn't be shocked to see either team walk away with this one.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, both teams have. I can easily see win conditions from both teams. I mean, Leoric Tychus can whittle down a tank enough to a Genji can get that finishing blow. There's a lot of tanks for them to whittle down, so that does make it one benefit of A-MEI-ZING is that they have such a health pool that it can make it tough.
All right, so we are loading in here to game number 2 on Battlefield of Eternity. First on the left, it is A-MEI-ZING. Hayes is going to be playing the Arthas. Lightnex, once again, on the Alexstrasza. Nukes for Kids returning to the Tyrael. Lasai going to be playing the Li Ming. And Kaizen is going to be on the Sonya.
And on the right-hand side, Drop Dead Gorgeous, we got Gelda this time on the ETC. Trent once again on the Tychus. Chaos on the Genji. Vexing on the Uther. And Pugs Not Drugs on the Leo this time.
So much gold in that top lane. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I'm actually curious to see. Right now they're sending A-MEI-ZING sending both Arthas and they're actually doing a 3. They're gonna swap this 4-man. They're actually gonna do the 4-man on the top. Throwing a little bit of a wrench here. Maybe they can try and get the first gank.
Yeah, this is something that we see quite often from Drop Dead Gorgeous. They like to set up these kind of ganks. So A-MEI-ZING giving their hand at it, but Pugs Not Drugs very wisely staying back until he saw the members approach, and still, no vision on them, not being too overly aggressive, but we will see the side of A-MEI-ZING rotating down and respecting the more standard 4-1 rotation.
Yeah, luckily neither team has a very strong map presence, a very strong lane presence here. I mean, there is a lot of that burst that coming from laning as we just saw in the bot lane, but the wave clear is going to be pretty stagnant.
Nukes for Kids taking a ton of harass, but on the other side, Gelda getting very low, and they will be able to get that reset in. Lightnex actually getting that final hit there, but with the resets coming in, the pressure is, well, I was going to say amazing, but let's not go there.
Ming. Oh, that was a good call, that blink over the wall. I mean, top lane, Leo is actually, losing pretty hard to Sonya right now. I feel like the Leo is actually playing pretty scared. I don't think he's even attempted to get any drain hopes on to the Sonya to kind of make the wave even, but usually Leo can pair pretty well with Sonya, but it's kind of just letting her do what she wants.
Yeah, Kaizen getting a ton of value up here, but actually getting a lot of value in both of these lanes. One thing we didn't talk about too much was the difference in the support game here. Vexing yet again coming in on the Uther. Going to be out-sustained in lane here by Lightnex on that Alexstrasza.
But she's getting pretty low on mana of that Alex, and so once she starts getting low, it does make it harder, especially with her health pool. But ETC once again kind of going in a little too far with that power slide.
Yeah, and the side of A-MEI-ZING doing a very nice job of punishing there, as Drop Dead Gorgeous not getting ridiculously far out of position, but you just take 1 or 2 steps too far, and Arthas makes that punish a very, very easy thing to do.
Yeah, Arthas just makes it so hard for them to actually run away. But first Immortal spawning. Neither team opted to take any type of mercs. Probably not going to time it out. I'm sure they're probably just going to go for a little bit more macro and just kind of defense on the Immortals here.
Yeah, like you said, it's that kind of extra strategy that neither of these teams have really gone with very much Immortal burn. So we would expect them both to stay in lane a little extra, maybe send 1 or 2 members to kind of scout in the mid and poke out and maybe get a little damage on it. But we can see both teams definitely having the priority on staying in lane and just getting the XP soak for now.
Yeah, Leoric actually got very close to dying in the top lane to A-MEI-ZING and actually forced it back, which gave him a huge level, that full level lead.
Right now we will see the prioritization here by Drop Dead Gorgeous to try and come up and defend. A-MEI-ZING getting some nice damage out onto the Immortal to start this off, but they are now turning onto the members of Drop Dead Gorgeous. They're slowed. Geldo will be able to slide out just in time to be able to save his own life there, but so many members low, and just an incredible amount of poke coming right now from A-MEI-ZING.
Yeah, the Alex is doing an incredible job keeping her team alive. It's one of those things that once Alex is in dragon form, you really can't fight into it unless you have the burst. But I mean, you saw that in that fight, that the whole team of A-MEI-ZING just ended it with full health.
Chaos in a lot of trouble here, has already burned the dash, so Lasai will be able to get in and get yet another kill, and just a ton of damage coming out right now from the Li Ming. 17k, where Tychus also getting some solid damage value. Is up to 13k hero damage, but just a lot more coordinated damage coming out right now from A-MEI-ZING. Good focus fire, and right now 5-0 on the kill count.
Yeah, A-MEI-ZING is just kind of dominating the game at this point. He's got the full level lead, they got the talent advantage, and actually gonna see Sonya take up the top mercs. I don't think she ever even hit an Immortal this whole game so far, so she either went to the lane or went to mercs or was in a team fight. And so they're just showing full domination right now.
The Pugs Not Drugs is going to scout this out, is going to come up to at least try to contest this. Hits the Drain Hope, but ultimately this should be an exchange that Sonya should probably be able to win, but actually no, Kaizen is going to back off.
If Leoric hits a Drain Hope on Sonya in a 1v1 scenario without any minions around, Leo should win that 100% of the time. It's kind of the issue with Braxis. If you see a lot of times you see Leo versus Sonya, but I can get into that later as we do have a bunch of fighting going on bot lane.
Yeah, we do see the side of A-MEI-ZING pushing in with this Immortal. Still very healthy Immortal as it steps on in and starts whacking away at the fort here. And we are going to see the Shaman Camp also backing it up from the back end. We are going to see Hayes going in deep, trying to pressure back the side of Drop Dead Gorgeous. Chaos getting a little bit low, having to pop that deflect. And right now they're going to be coming in onto the front of this front wall here.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting a ton of value out of this first Immortal. It finally does go down. ETC does another aggressive power slide into the middle of the whole team, and it's actually going to spell almost another death for him. Yep. Leaving popping off.
Yeah, I can respect the side of Drop Dead Gorgeous feeling like they needed to go in and try to respond to this, but right now there's just a lot more damage coming out from the side of A-MEI-ZING, but they actually do end up getting the kill onto the Li Ming, so they are able to push them back for now.
Keep MVP, man.
These keeps do a lot more damage, and they have a lot more health. So in that recent patch, they actually gave these structures, they gave them back their teeth. So, but we are still going to see level 10 being picked up here for the side of A-MEI-ZING. 2-level lead, and still in full control of this game.
Yeah, once again, Sonya didn't need to be there. They had the level lead on them. They had the Immortal with them, which kind of acts as a 5th hero. So Sonya opting to sit in the top lane and make sure that they continue having this macro level lead. It's paying off for them. Nearly got the fort just by herself.
The level 10s have been picked up here. Cleansing Flame, Army of the Dead, Wrath of the Berserker, Wave of Force, and the Sanctification coming out here from A-MEI-ZING. Still about a level until Drop Dead Gorgeous is able to pick up their 10s. And I don't think they're going to have it in time for this Immortal spawn here.
Yeah, I love this play by A-MEI-ZING. They have their level 10s, the full level lead. They're actually going to be super aggressive on Drop Dead's Shaman Camp. One of the things that a lot of teams don't utilize often enough is when you have these level leads is to really prioritize, or not prioritize, but to really take advantage of that. And that's exactly what Li Ming was doing. Or not, A-MEI-ZING was doing.
And we do see them continuing to pressure, getting some extra damage onto this fort. But as soon as the Immortal pops, they rotate directly to it, knowing that Drop Dead is not really going to be able to contest them without the ultimates.
Yeah, they're still a full level away from level 10. It's so tough for Drop Dead Gorgeous to be in the situation where you essentially just have to give away everything that you've ever loved, and you just have to watch it die away.
Well, not only that, but A-MEI-ZING is well on their way to 13. So by the time level 10 is going to be picked up here, I'm not sure that they're even going to have a chance to really take advantage of being on the same tier. But Sanctification is going to come down along with the Cleansing Flame. Gelda is going to end up getting picked off there. On the side of Drop Dead Gorgeous, trying to force there with the Immortal at their back, but ultimately just too much power in those heroics.
Yeah, I mean, Sonya, they were trying to focus onto that Sonya, but then once Sanctification came out, Sonya was whirlwinding and was able to heal herself, plus the Cleansing Flame coming in, and they just weren't able to get any type of final kill. It might have been a different story if they had level 10, if they had the Mosh Pit before the Sanctification came out, but unfortunately that was not the case.
So we will see the full shielded Immortal marching its way down this top lane here. Level 10s do come in for Drop Dead Gorgeous, so we will see March of the Black King, Mosh Pit, Dragon Blade, the Divine Shield, and Commandeer Odin. Speaking of which, here comes the Odin to try and counter siege.
Yeah, one of the best kind of defense sieging tools for Drop Dead Gorgeous. Has the long range, has the big AoE, and it kind of gets a lot of good poke damage. But this is going to be, next team fight is going to be pretty much dictating how this game is going to finalize.
And we do see Kaizen going in deep here, trying to get Pugs Not Drugs down low. Chaos is going to come in to try and get some pressure on the backside, but just a ton of healing coming out right now. Good sustain coming in from A-MEI-ZING. The keep is going to fall, and they are going to be looking to pick themselves up some resets as Pugs Not Drugs falls, and they're going to be pushing in on the core.
Yeah, Drop Dead just can't do anything against these high health pool heroes, and it's kind of interesting because they have Leoric and Tychus, which are specifically designed to go against these high health heroes. But I think the healing from Alexstrasza has been ridiculous, and they've just not been able to get anything done.
And that is going to be it. GG and domination in a 10-minute game here on BOE, going over to the side of A-MEI-ZING.
Yeah, and actually, I looked at the stats screen there at the end a little bit, and Alexstrasza had 47,000 healing compared to Uther's 20, and that kind of says everything about the game right there. Honestly, Drop Dead just could not kill anybody. The only kill they got was from the fort. They keep killing Li Ming.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming out from Tychus that game in terms of raw numbers, but at the end of the day, that's just not quite enough to really get the job done. Not a whole lot of contributions from Chaos being able to dive in, and just too much counter pressure whenever he tried to get in on that Genji and really do any significant damage. I think a lot of his numbers also come from the Dragon Blade later in the game when it could be a little bit more effective with that AoE damage, but really the Tychus threw out damage, the side of A-MEI-ZING just healed it back up.
Yeah, I mean, the Alexstrasza, I think, probably proved critical to that team's success there. Maybe a little bit of misplays from the ETC player, from Gelda, to kind of sliding in aggressively and without a very good escape, because there's an Arthas there with slows. There is a, Tyrael there to body block, especially with the AoE heals, the AoE shielding. So it kind of gave up a lot of early kills, which did not do them any favors. But A-MEI-ZING capitalized on that beautifully, being aggressive on the Merc camps, utilizing their level 10s that were early, and just keeping the pressure on.
So I'm going to go ahead and reach out to Captain Lightnex here for the side of A-MEI-ZING and see if he is available to do an interview here. And yeah, I mean, just taking a quick look at the talents, did you see anything that was out of the ordinary or anything that surprised you? Granted, it only got to 13. It was kind of a short match, but
yeah, the Alexstrasza went the full that 75% health build, so it increases her healing output by a bunch if she's allowed to stay healthy. And with that 3-man front line, she definitely was able to stay healthy. But other than that, the talents are pretty common. I'm very surprised that I was kind of expecting those fights to go kind of a different direction. I think there was just A-MEI-ZING was just able to get such a level lead early on that it was a snowball from there.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and jump up to lobby 1. Lightneck said he could join us in about 30 seconds, so. All right.
Hello.
And we are joined by Captain Lightneck. Congratulations, man. Some pretty strong GGs. How are you guys feeling right now?
We're feeling confident in our ability to close out games now.
And close out those games you did. How did you guys feel about the draft, particularly in that second game where you guys saw a little bit of dive coming from their end, but you guys got a lot of high health pool heroes?
We just kind of picked characters that we enjoyed playing. I enjoyed playing Alexstrasza, and Li-Ming is definitely my friend's character. And we just saw Genji, so we were like, okay, just pick a little beefier team. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I was commending you on your Alexstrasza play the whole time. You're able to stay safe with that full tanky front line, and you put out nearly triple the Uther's healing. They just couldn't kill you.
Yeah. Just got to position correctly. I don't know.
Yep.
All right. Well, any more questions, Snag? Do you got anything else you want to ask for A-MEI-ZING here?
Yeah. Going back to game number 1 on Tomb of the Spider Queen, it looked like you guys were going full dive with that. You had Tyrael, you had Illidan, you had, I'm trying to remember who else you had.
Genji too.
Yeah, the Genji. I mean, it looked like it was going full dive, but then you opted in to go to the Metamorphosis and Sanctification and all that. So was that a change based on you seeing the Uther, or was that always your team's plan with that comp?
Yeah. Well, going into Uther, you need some sort of defensive when you dive in, so that's why we took Sanct, and Metamorphosis is just one of my friend's favorite skills, I guess. I don't know. He just likes taking it. But
didn't want to utilize that globe on a small map.
Yeah, Uther is definitely one of the biggest concerns for us when we were playing that, but I think we played around it decently well, and so we were able to take out the win on that map too.
Yeah, what were your comms like when you guys were doing so many of those fights? That we were noticing that they went back and forth. Like you guys dove in into the Arthas, that was slowing down your Illidan. You guys were getting hammered, and basically right until Sanctification came out and we saw the team just swap. Your health pools all rose, their health pools all dropped. Like, what are your comms in those type of situations of who to focus and how to go about in the team?
Honestly, it's just everyone calling out what they're doing, and then we have everyone trying to play around each other. It's hectic, but not necessarily. It's like organized chaos, I guess you can call it. Everyone enjoying the game.
That's good. That's good.
All right, well, shout out time, Lightneck. You got anybody you want to point out or praise?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Nukes for subbing in for us today. Usually one of our main guys is out. He had to go on some dinner date, I think it was. But yeah, Nukes, and then our friends at home. I think Wasai's cousin and a few other friends that I don't remember. But thanks everyone for supporting us.
All right, well, congratulations on the 2-0. You guys are going to go back to the top of B Division West in the standings, and you guys are just looking amazing right now. And good luck in the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, well, that is going to do it for us tonight, guys. Snag, thank you very much for joining me again. Where can we find you? Any shout outs you want to make?
Yeah, so I'm also streaming. I'll cast other NGS games. You can see me over at my Twitch. It's my name, but with a 5 at the end, because for some reason somebody already had Snag in as. So I had to kind of improvise. But yeah, I will stream. I'll play games here and there. But yeah, just definitely look for me for casting. And thanks for having me, definitely.
You know, I'm realizing I missed that. So there you go. We'll put it on at the end. Snag in an S 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, and thank you everybody for coming out and watching tonight. Again, this was our first shot at Friday Night Hots, so we're going to try and make this a weekly thing. If you guys want your match featured on Friday Night Hots, it's pretty easy. You just, sign up for an NGS match that's Friday night at 8 p.m. or later, and we'll pick up one and do a feature with a couple previews for each team and have some fun with that like we did this week. And hopefully we'll get some really good casters. Snag, I know, is an excellent experience having you here tonight. And you feel free to come back anytime, my friend.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, guys.
I'll try to make sure my Fridays are open.
There we go. Well, you know, some of us have dinner dates and whatnot.
Yeah, some people have dinner dates, apparently. Those people that like to go out and do stuff.
Not me. All right, well, thank you guys for joining us. For NGS, I'm Jason. He is Snagging an S, and we will see you guys next time. Have a good night.
Good night.